Hey guys, welcome to a brand new episode of I'm LaToya Rena. If you are new here, welcome. If you've been here before, hey y'all. Today I want to talk about my 1 year update from having my labrum tear repaired in my right hip. Don't play with it, don't be dishonest. Still not. So I never officially did like weekly updates, monthly updates, or anything like that on this particular surgery, because when I was recovering from the surgery is when I started YouTube, and I didn't even really know what I wanted to talk about. And I wish I would have documented this journey in the beginning of my YouTube journey, but I didn't, and that's fine. I'm here to bring y'all on a 1 year update on that. So let's even talk about how this came about, y'all. The interesting thing is I have no idea how I tore my labrum. And your labrum is essentially like the tissue that's surrounding your joint. Mine in particular was my hip that I tore, but you also have a labrum in your shoulder as well. And so I tore mine. Don't know when I tore it. Don't even know what year I tore it, because I had just been having chronic pain in my hip for a few years and didn't really know what it was. It was not until 2023 that it became unbearable. So much so that, like, for example, at that time I was working a very sedentary job, a desk job. And so I would sit my whole work day, and then, my commute home would take upwards of an hour and a half or so to come home. And also in the mornings, it was at least an hour or two. Traffic was just intense for the hours that I worked for that job. And so long story short, I was essentially sitting all day long. And so unbeknownst to me, I had this tear, and sitting was tearing it further. And so as a result, it got to a point where I could barely like I struggled to get from sit to stand positions. So for example, sitting at a desk, getting up to go to the restroom hurt. Getting out of your car after driving for an hour and a half in traffic hurt. For example, if I was driving my kids somewhere and we were getting out the car, my kids would be inside the house before I could even open my door good, because I was in just so much pain. And it just got to a point where it was just ridiculous. I did go in, have a few different radiological procedures done. I know for sure I had a CT, an MRI, and an ultrasound. And I even had an ultrasound guided injection into the joint. That did nothing. In fact, it made it far worse. And so after the MRI, we saw what the true issue was, and we decided, that we go on ahead and repair it. And so we did, and what that consisted of is them basically anchoring the labrum down with 4 anchors in place. It required me to be non-weight bearing on my right leg for like a couple weeks. I was on crutches. It was awful. It was just awful because, you just take for granted some of the movements that you do with your body until something happens. So, for example, sitting down on the toilet, I was like doing everything in my power not to fall down on the toilet, because I didn't really have that much control. So it wasn't like a gentle sit down. It was a plump, type thing. Just little things like that. Pretty much my entire family, including myself, we all drive SUVs. And so getting up in the SUV was challenging. All of these different things that you just don't think much about were truly awful. In fact, I can vividly remember the day I came home from surgery, which it was a same day surgery. So the day I went in, same day I came home. And I vividly remember I'm sitting in my garage now, and my garage, like the door to get in my house is back there. And there's only one step, y'all. And it took an act of Congress for me to get in the house with, I think, my father, my kids. They were all helping me with this. And it was just so challenging. It was awful. It was painful. I had drains coming out of in surgical sites and stuff like that. It was a lot. It was a lot. And let me back up and say that the surgery I had, it was a laparoscopic surgery. So I had 4 punctures So 4 areas that they went in, probably the size, well, let me look, I got shorts on right now, the size of maybe like the point of your finger, you know, that's how big they are. And I've got 4 of them, and that they went in and fixed it that way instead of like opening, like doing a, you know, long straight open incision. They did the little laparoscopic punctures, and that's how I was able to like come home so quickly, because it's less invasive and things like that. But yeah, so it was tough. It was tough. I had drains. My drain fell out like the next day. I had to go back in, get that figured out. Did physical therapy for 3 months, was on crutches for like 3 weeks. I was starting a new job around that time. It was a whole bunch of things. So anyway, it was a lot. It was a whole lot. Couldn't drive for a while. Just couldn't really trust myself, my body for a while. I don't think I actually trusted my ability to walk without like constantly thinking about every step until like 4 months in. And even still to this point, I do sometimes like walking, for example, like going like sidestepping. I am focusing very hard on my movements with that, because I don't want to like extend my leg out too far and cause it pain or potentially tear it or anything like that. So my life in many ways is like I'm thinking about my labrum and my hip and stuff like that. Some other things, like a year in, I still can't lay on that side of my body comfortably. I can lay on it, you know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then after that it's pretty painful. And I instantly regret it. So that's the thing. I do, when I go to the gym, I do hip flexor exercises and just hip adductors, abductors, all that kind of stuff to strengthen it. And I feel like it has gotten stronger, but it's definitely not as strong as my left hip, even a year in. And if you've been following me for a while, you know that I had a myomectomy surgery in October. It's now December. And during that process, I really couldn't focus on my hip, because the pain was at my myomectomy site. So like your C-section site. I had a C-section years ago, but had myomectomy is where you have a fibroid removed, and they went through my C-section site to remove it. And so the pain was all there, so I couldn't even feel the hip. But once I recovered from the myomectomy, I could 110% feel the hip again. So I say all that to say my hip is still a problem at times. It is still something I think about a lot. It is not as strong as it like to be. I always do strengthening exercises for my hip, even a year post-op. It is a surgery that I'm grateful that I had, because although I'm still in some pain now, it is nothing like what it was prior to surgery. I mean, I can move just fine. I can jog. I can do that stuff. I just have to be mindful of how my feet land, how things are placed. But before, y'all, like I said before, I could barely get out the car. So I am grateful that I had the surgery done. And I just think it's just crazy that I have no clue how I did it. I just know that I had pain, and it just progressively got worse over a couple of years until it became unbearable. So just listen to your body, watch your body, be mindful of what you're doing so that you don't end up like me. But all in all, I'm doing much better. I'm not taking pain medicine every day. I'm not taking muscle relaxers every day. There are days when I do take them, like Christmas, for whatever reason. Y'all, I was in so much pain. So I had to take all the things, but this isn't an everyday occurrence. It's not even a weekly occurrence or a bi-weekly occurrence. So I'm so grateful to God for that, because it could be far worse. And so, yeah, that's where we are. I'm hoping that in 2025, because we're about to hop into that year, I hope that it gets even better, and then hopefully I don't even think about it anymore, and hopefully it's strong enough, and just, I'm just able to live my life a little bit more freely than I am now. But we'll see. we'll see. I'm just glad that I'm not in the pain that I was in 2023, 2022, I think even 2021. So grateful to God for that. If you like the content that I'm providing to you, please make sure that you hit that like button as well as that subscribe button so that when new content comes your way, you are one of the first people to see it. It also helps my channel grow. Look out for some new Wegovy updates if you're into that. Also, probably some sports updates. I like sports and just all the things. But if I don't see you until next week, which is the new year, I hope that you enter 2025 safely, that it is a beautiful year for you, and that you know, you just walk into it with a smile on your face and hope in your heart. So that is all, guys. Love you. See you soon. Bye.